Hey YouTube, DanOttawa here, the best 3rd/4th tier Pokemon Go battler in the world, coming at you with some help for those of you who are looking for non-XL teams. I have I tried to use a all glass cannon team today. I tried to do a Swampert, Sirfetch'd, Gengar, but the team didn't work out because it was just a little too glassy. So then I started doing some research on Pvpoke, and I know they have the top performers list. So I'm like, let's just look through the top performers teams. And there's a mixture. There's obviously some of the top teams have XL Pokemon, but there were enough teams in there that I could make and pull out 10 non-XL teams that can be used here. So a couple things to keep into consideration here. The Pokemon that are used here, how it sort of works with the ratings is that it's based on sort of like your individual rating for the Pokemon is based on the individual matchup against the meta, and then a team rating is sort of the same thing. It's a collective rating based on how they fare up against metas teams. So with these, you're going to see two Pokemon on a lot of these teams, Venusaur and Gallade. And it's because Venusaur, although struggles mightily with flyers and fire, it's just so strong, and ice as well, but at least it can hit that with sludge. Outside of like those, it has just like strong neutral matchups across the board, and obviously great against your Swamperts and Politoads in water. Gallade was the ultimate safe swap for many seasons in this league, and it's funny because it's kind of gone away this season as a safe swap, but if you look at it, it has a lot of good matchups against the meta just because the confusions just chip so hard that you're able to output a lot of damage. So here are 10 teams that are all non-XL. I'm going to go through them. I'm going to highlight what I like about the teams, what I don't like about the teams, and tell you which teams I'm going to try out because I'm actually going to try out. This was number 2 on the list. So there was an XL team number 1, and this is number 2. And it's a Magnezone, Gallade, Venusaur. And I was looking at this and I'm like, okay, Magnezone is obviously weak to counter users. And Gallade can handle the counter users that are Machamp and like Toxicroak. And Venusaur can handle the counter users that are, let's say, Scrafty or Obstagoon. And Magnezone will be weak to Swampert, which Venusaur can cover. So a lot of these teams are built around not my strategy, but the strategy I put out in the video of 2 Pokemon that cover each other's weaknesses and a safe swap. So Magnezone actually has, outside of sort of your Galarian Stunfisk, I was thinking about the XL Pokemon, and you have Mandibuzz, you have Politoad, you have Abomasnow that you can hit with the I forget what like a flash cannon type mirror shot. It's mirror shot. With the mirror shot, it can actually do well against a decent amount of the Talonflame too. You'll lose Talonflame in the 2 shield because it can just ramp up with the flame charges, but you can get wild charges off in the 0 and 1 shield. So Magnezone has some play. So this team, I'm going to use this team. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to use this team first thing tomorrow morning because I really think that it has the potential to do well. In the second team is a Charizard, Kingdra, Shadow Machamp. And what to note here is Charizard has Wing Attack as the fast move. So I think with this team, Shadow Machamp is obviously super strong. It deals with just sort of your steals. It deals with your darks. Even in bad matchups, like it can flip a Talonflame matchup. It actually has a winning matchup in Talonflame. Just I think going straight cross shops. So Shadow Machamp is good. It obviously is weak to Psychic. It is weak to Flyers. So looks like you have a Charizard which can, so with Machamp, it's also gonna be bad against like your Venusaurs and your Gengars, right? So that's where I think the Charizard comes in, is to cover those weaknesses, and it's doing that with the wing attack. So if it's going to be weak against Venusaur, wing attack is more just a neutral move. Like you could just do straight fire spin, but wing attack I think just has a little more coverage for, I don't know what the additional coverage would be. I think it's just because there's not a ton of steel in Ultra League. And Kingdra is again one of those solid safe swaps. It's mostly used in Empoleon Double Dragon, but Kingdra is a pretty solid safe swap, just outputting that Dragon Breath damage. The third team is a Venusaur, Gallade, Empoleon. I'm not going to spend too much time on this team because it's essentially switch out your Magnezone for Empoleon. Same sort of thing. They're weak to counters, users, but they otherwise like resist your shield, resist your charmers, resist your psychic, outputs deals with the Talonflame, and can output like hard damage on a lot of neutral matchups. So Empoleon is another one of those. And that's why I kind of like, you're like, wow, these teams seem so obvious, and they are, and they're just very strong core Pokemon together. And you'll see later Venusaur Swampert. If you go back to one of my older videos, I used last season a Swampert Venusaur core, and I did great with it. It's just like finding these. Yes, you don't have the level 50, but if you find these hard hitting, decent bulk core Pokemon, you can do okay. You can do, I think, pretty well in this. So the fourth team is Empoleon Double Dragon. So there's your Empoleon, Kingdra, and Dragonite. So I'm not going to spend time on that because everyone knows how to use this. This one is the second team I'm going to use because I tried to use Gengar this morning and I liked it, but it was just a little too glassy. And so I tried to use Gengar, Sirfetch'd, Swampert this morning for an what's it called? Oh, jeez. For a glass cannon team. But replacing Snorlax was not a bad idea because where this team may struggle is against your psychic user and your no, Gengar has a pretty good matchup against your Jellicent, but Snorlax like walls Jellicent, and it's basically Snorlax and Gengar feeding off each other, right? Because Gengar is going to be weak to Psychic and fellow Ghost type, but Snorlax takes resisted damage from Ghost type, and Snorlax is weak to fighters. And Gengar and Sirfetch'd, same sort of thing as the first case scenario. Gengar will deal with your Machamp and Toxicroak, and your Sirfetch'd will deal with the darks that are weak to fighting. So your Obstagoon and your Scrafty. So that's why I really like this line, and I'm definitely going to use it. And Snorlax is a great safe swap because it just absorbs so much damage. The sixth team is a Swampert, Charizard, Gallade. This one, Charizard is with Dragon Breath. Again, it's one of those Swampert's going to be weak to grass, cover it with your Charizard, Gallade safe swap. So this is nothing fancy on this team, but it's another one of using those legacy moved starters with a Gallade safe swap. This is the third team I really like because this is not a new team. Again, I made a video on this about bulk is better. Lapras and Snorlax in the back. Both weak to counter, but it's essentially an ABB team. You use one as a safe swap, jar to counter user. And Toxicroak here is your counter user, not shield, but like takedown, because it'll win against the Machamp and it'll win against your Scrafty and your Obstagoon. Doing effective there. So you draw one out with the Lapras or Snorlax, and then you come back in with the Toxicroak to finish it off, and then you have the other one free in the back. And Lapras and Snorlax are bulky enough to deal with a lot of the Pokemon that even if they have losing matchups, again, you're going to absorb a lot of energy and potentially grab a shield. Snorlax, Machamp, Venusaur. This one is one of those where I kind of like each individual part more than I like the actual team. Again, like I like Venusaur because Venusaur hits so hard with the frenzies. I like Machamp because Machamp hits so hard, so fast with the counters and the Crash Shop and Rock Slides. And Snorlax is a strong Pokemon that can absorb a lot of damage. And I guess I'm trying to just think of like what would cause this problems. So you have fire and oh, like okay, so you're double weak to flying in the back, right? So if you got an Altaria or a Skarmory or a Mandibuzz, you're pretty in trouble in the back. So that's why I really don't like ABB teams in general, but it just seems like there's too many weaknesses in the back line here. Machamp, Muck, and Venusaur. And this is the first one where I seen Muck on the list. And again, you saw it in my previous video, and I can't speak. I speak so highly of Muck, and I still think I don't do it justice. It just is the ultimate safe swap. And just the Sludge Wave and Dark Pulse just hit for so much damage and tons of neutral matchups against the board. And some good matchups as well. Like if you get a Jellicent that's only running Bubble Beam and not Ice Beam, like you're golden. And the last team, same sort of thing. Machamp, Swampert, Venusaur, same concept as before. Swampert and Venusaur are your covers for each other. And Machamp, like there's no safe swap on this team. That's what I don't like about this one. That's why I think it's a bit lower, because you can lead Swampert and then Machamp, I guess, is your best safe swap, quite honestly. Or you can try and use the Swampert as a safe swap. But yeah, the teams like this I don't super like because they don't have the safe swaps. So those are the 10 teams. Like I said, you see a lot of Venusaur on the list. You see a lot of Gallades on the list. You saw a lot of Machamps on the list. I will lead off with the Magnezone team tomorrow. I will let you guys know tomorrow night how it goes. And then I will try the other two teams that I mentioned there, the one with the Gengar. And I do like the Lapras and Snorlax core in the back, even though that is an ABB team and I don't generally like ABB teams. I do like that team. So that's it. I hope this helps you guys think about team comps. And a lot of this comes down to, like I said, go find my team building about covering your weaknesses, because this is all most of these teams are. And I like these teams because I think they're the most balanced, which is just two very strong Pokemon individually that cover each other's weaknesses, and a safe swap that you can deal with a lot of Pokemon. And the safe swap in these ones are Gallade and Kingdra for this. And you know what? You can also use Snorlax and Lapras. I like those two as safe swaps as well, quite honestly, in this league. So I would use any 4 of those as safe swaps. Again, if you have like level 50s, Umbreon is fine as well for a safe swap. But this is a non-XL team comp. So those are the 4 that I use. Combo plays, they've given you plenty here for what pairs with each other. Just if you're thinking, like, if you're really struggling what pairs with each other, just think about the starters, combos, anything that has a legacy move, combo it with something that covers weaknesses, and you should be okay to at least compete. And that's all we're trying to do these couple weeks, right? Is just compete. So that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope this helps. I know a lot of you are struggling. I am as well. I was down another 100-ish plus points today. So down to like the 23-20 range. So I'm just trying to survive until Master League, and then Master League I usually do pretty well, and that's it. So thanks for watching. I will let you guys know tomorrow how it goes. So see you guys then.